Hi, everybody. My name is Jerry Roisentul. My clients call me Coach Jerry, and it is an honor and a privilege to be here at the Global Speaker Spotlight. I'm so excited to take the next 15 minutes to share with you a portion of one of my signature trainings that I've actually done all over the world. And before we get into that, I'd like to ask you all a question just to make sure that this message is for you. So let me ask you this. How many of you, by a show of hands, have a mind? Can you raise your hand? your hand should all be going up for that question, okay? And here's the second question. How many of your minds get messed up, jacked up, screwed up, and even hijacked from time to time? Can I see your hands? Because guess what? You should all be raising them because we all deal with that. That is why I love teaching this message, which is called Winning the Battle in Your Mind. How great leaders rise above pressure, doubt, and uncertainty. So strap on your seatbelts, get your notepads ready, because here we go. So let me start off by asking you this question. Have you ever noticed that some of the biggest battles that we face in leadership, that often happens when nobody can actually see them? The pressure, the self-doubt, the uncertainty, the second guessing a difficult decision that we had to make. See, nobody sees the internal conversations that happen after all of that. Nobody sees the moments when you're sitting by yourself wondering, did I make the right call? Can I handle this? Well, what if this doesn't work? See, from the outside, people just see what they see. But from the inside, many leaders are carrying the weight of all of that every single day. And if we're truly honest with each other, most leadership challenges aren't people problems, they're actually mindset problems. Because before you can lead a team, before you can lead an organization, or before you can lead a company, you have to first be able to successfully lead yourself. And that's why I want to talk to you today about winning the battle in your mind. Because every single person listening to this call, every leader listening to this call has two voices that are competing for your attention. One voice says to you, you can. The other voice says, well, what if you can't? One voice tells you, take that risk. The other voice says, well, what happens if you fail? One voice says, move forward, while the other voice says, wait until you're ready. See, the quality of your leadership is often determined by which one of those voices wins. And that's why I created a framework for developing a champion mindset. And that framework is called RISE, R-I-S-E. And this framework literally transformed my life. But before I share the framework with you, I want to share with you why this message, why this topic means so much to me. Because there was a season in my life where I was losing the battle in my mind. In 2006, my entire world fell apart. My marriage to my son's mom ended after 10 years. The business that I had poured my blood, sweat, and tears into for 13 years collapsed and imploded. I went from seeing my 3-year-old son every day of the week to only seeing him twice a week. I sank into a massive state of depression. And the future that I had envisioned for myself was gone just like that. And one night I found myself lying on the floor of my apartment, writing a letter to my then 3-year-old son, trying to explain to him when he got older why his dad took his own life. It was one of the darkest moments of my life. And maybe you have had a season like that. A season where life just keeps throwing punches at you. And just when you think you caught your breath, another challenge shows up. That was my reality. And while people could see what was happening around me, nobody could see what was happening inside me. The doubt, the fear, the uncertainty, the questions. Can I recover from this? Will things ever get better? Will I eventually be able to get my life back? And what I realized during that period of time is that my circumstances were not my biggest enemy. My thinking was. Because every day I, like every single one of us, have a choice. I could have listened to the voice that told me, "You're done, Jerry," or listened to the voice that said, "Get up." I could have listened to the voice that said, "This is the end of your story," or listened to the voice that said, "This is your new beginning." And what I learned was this: every single breakthrough begins with winning the battle in your mind. And that's why I developed the R.I.S.E framework. And I want to share a portion of that with you today to give you some value and something that you can use to begin changing your life. So the R in the R.I.S.E framework is rewrite your beliefs. Rewrite your beliefs. Let's start with a simple truth, my friends. Your beliefs become your behaviors. If you believe you're capable, you're going to act differently than if you believe you're not. And years ago, I heard a speaker say something that really resonated with me. He said, "What you tell yourself eventually becomes what you believe about yourself internally." See, many leaders are operating from stories that no longer serve them. A past failure, a setback, a criticism from years ago, an experience that convinced them that they weren't enough. But champions understand something, that just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it deserves a permanent residence there. The leaders who transform organizations are usually the leaders who first transform their thinking. So I want you to ask yourself a question on this point. What belief have you been carrying that needs to be rewritten? Write that down. We'll come back to that in a minute. So the R is rewrite your beliefs. The I is identify your leadership identity. One of the biggest mistakes that I see leaders make is they tie their identity to their results. See, when things are going well, they feel valuable. When things get difficult, they start to question themselves. And I want to make this point very clear to everyone listening today. Your title is not your identity. Your position, your success, your setbacks are not your identity. Because leadership begins when you know who you are, when everything around you gets stripped away. Whew, come on, somebody. That was something that was so good, I have to repeat it. Leadership begins when you know when you know who you are and when everything gets stripped away from you. It's knowing what you stand for. It's knowing your values. It's knowing your purpose. It's knowing the kind of leader that you choose to be, regardless of the things that are happening around you. See, the strongest leaders that I've met are not defined by pressure, they're revealed by it. Because when you know who you are, when everything else gets stripped away, then uncertainty loses much of its power. So the question I want you to ask yourself here is this: what leadership identity might need to be strengthened? And think about that. The I is identify your leadership identity. The S in R.I.S.E is shift your focus. Listen, all of us have bought a new car at some point, whether it was brand new or it was new to us, right? But isn't it funny, before we bought our car, we hardly ever noticed it on the road. Then the moment we bought it, it's everywhere. Stoplights, parking lots, freeways. It's like everyone in the world went out and bought the same car we just did, right? And of course they didn't, but you were just simply looking for it. Leadership works the same way. What you look for, you find. If you're looking for problems, you're going to find them. If you're looking for reasons that something isn't going to work, you're going to find those too. If you're looking for opportunities, for possibilities, for growth, for solutions, you're going to start finding those as well. Because the quality of your focus determines the quality of your leadership. Whatever captures your attention influences your attitude. And whatever influences your attitude impacts your actions. So the question I'd like you to ask here is this: what focus do you have that you might need to shift? What focus do you have that you might need to shift? The S is shift your focus. And the E in the RISE framework is execute despite doubt. I wrote my award-winning and best-selling book, Don't Let Doubt Take You Out, 3 years ago. And one of the reasons I wrote it is because I've seen talented leaders settle for less than what's possible, not because they lacked ability, but because they listened to the doubts in their mind more than the opportunities around them. They doubt their decisions. They doubt their timing. They doubt themselves. They doubt whether they're doing enough. They doubt whether they're leading well enough. And the more that I studied leadership, the more I realized something profound to me. That the leaders who accomplish extraordinary things, they don't have less doubts than anyone else. They simply refuse to let their doubts make decisions for them. Because every leadership decision that you and I make is going to come with uncertainty. Every promotion, every expansion, every difficult conversation, doubt's always going to show up. The question is, who's going to get the final vote in your mind? Is it going to be doubt or your leadership? Because confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes after action. See, the confidence that you're looking for most of the time is hiding on the other side of the action you've been avoiding. Whew, man, that was another good one. The confidence you're looking for is usually hiding on the other side of the action you've been avoiding. That's why this step is execute despite doubt. Not after doubt, not when doubt disappears, not when you feel completely ready. Execute despite doubt. Because the next time doubt shows up, my friends, and trust me when I tell you it will, don't ask yourself, well, how do I get rid of this? Ask yourself, what's the right next action I need to take anyway? Because courage isn't the absence of doubt, it's moving forward despite it. And so the question I'd like you to ask yourself here is this. What action or actions have you been avoiding because doubt has been talking louder than your purpose? So as I get ready to land this plane today, I want to leave you with something to remember. Every organization has challenges. Every leader faces pressure. Every executive experiences moments of doubts. That's not the issue. The issue is what happens next. The next time the pressure shows up in your life, rise. The next time doubt starts whispering in your ear and telling you all the reasons you can't, you won't, and you shouldn't, rise. The next time uncertainty knocks on your door, rise. Rewrite your beliefs. Identify your leadership identity. Shift your focus and execute despite doubt. Because the greatest leadership victory you'll ever achieve isn't over your competition. It isn't over your marketplace. It isn't even over economic conditions. The greatest leadership victory you will ever achieve is over the voice in your mind that's telling you that you can't. So the question is not whether pressure, doubt, or uncertainty will show up in your life, because it will. The question is this: when it does, will you shrink or will you rise? My friends, you can see the passion I have for this. And this message is a message that I deliver to companies, to businesses, to organizations. This is a message that I work with people on individually in my executive coaching program. And if you'd be interested in talking with me about working one-on-one or possibly having me come in to do a training for one of your events or your teams, I'd love for you to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Very easily, go to my website, www.championmentorship.com, championmentorship.com, and you can reach out directly through my website. You can send me a private message. I will get it personally. I will respond to you. I would love to talk to you and find out how I can take this message and help you or your organization rise. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and share this with you today. I wish you all a blessed and incredible day. and just remind yourselves that you have the power to win the battle in your mind. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.